Hello, this is Secular Parenting. I am Ginger Jesus. Today I'm going to talk about some of the steps we use to help our children overcome adversity. About 30-something years ago, we as a culture decided that we would rather let our children embrace mediocrity than embrace failure. Like the concept of the participation trophy is a prime example of this. I mean, did you ever receive a participation trophy? I did. What did you do with yours? I don't. Mine usually got thrown away in the next move. I never kept them. I never cared long enough. How did you feel about yours? I don't know. Let's find out. Sound up, adults. Were you patronized too as well? Now we all know we need to teach our children how to overcome adversity. My parents tried team sports. I'm sure your parents did too, but again, the participation mentality, play until a tie. You don't learn how to overcome adversity that way. You learn how to play a game by a set of rules. My child discovered soccer, and turns out I had a lot of misconceptions based on the way I was taught how to play soccer. They were actually quite aggressive. I was very proud of her. But she didn't really learn how to overcome any real adversity during that. She learned how to play as a team. She learned a lot of great team building things and social skills. Proud of her. But at no point did I see her learn how to overcome adversity. Overcoming adversity is a very personal matter. The problem with team sports is it's rarely personal, despite what the movies tell you. So other than competition is something I like to call lifestyle adversity. Lifestyle adversity is when you can just kind of get through the little parts of the day. What we like to call adulting. So in an effort of doing my job as the father, making sure that the children grow up all right, I have looked into this and I decided to try a new template. About 5 years ago, I started working on it and it's been working really well, so I will now share it with you and I hope you can use it in your own way. But it's five simple kind of things to keep in your brain as you view the world. So the first thing I like to say is to encourage increased expectations. Do not expect increased expectations, do not demand increased expectations, just encourage them, and I will give you an example of this. When my middle child was learning how to read, she taught herself how to read from the ground up. It took nothing from us. We taught her. I helped her with some sounds of it here and there, but generally speaking, she just kind of got on YouTube and figured it out. Now she tears through novels faster than we can supply them, and it's scaring me a little bit. But in the beginning, she would talk incessantly about the books she was reading, and I realized, fortunately for myself, that this was a moment where I could kind of check on her reading ability. And then I realized there's a chance to check on her reading comprehension because she was talking about the books, but in very general, vague terms. I didn't know if she was quite getting the concept of the story. And so I started asking questions. Oh, what do you think that character meant? What do you think that character was doing? What do you think that character was thinking? And it was always kind of halfway through one of her rants, just to kind of interrupt her a little bit. And it would bring her back to the book, and she would think about the book, and she would realize that, oh, maybe she wasn't noticing that. And then eventually she would go back and she would reread that book, and she would re-notice things. And then she started picking up on things faster when she was reading other books. And what I did is I just encouraged the expectations that maybe you should pay more attention to the characters as you're reading these books. Pay more attention to the actual arc of the story. Pay more attention to these things. And because I created that expectation of higher expectations, I encouraged that higher bar of thinking. I let her know it was there. I never said she had to go there. I just asked her a couple open-ended questions, way to check on her progress and encourage more of it. And it worked beautifully. And this strategy has worked in almost every scenario. It will fail when they don't care enough to succeed, and in that situation, you need to let it go and just be okay. And yeah, I know that sucks. So when your kid is sitting down to a project, rule number 2, it definitely... So rule number 2 works best when your kid is sitting down to a project, and it is simply explain, don't do. An example of this would be when my youngest child discovered that she really liked puzzles. She was tired of playing with the fit the block into the wood type of puzzle. Now she wanted to do the cardboard puzzles with the pictures, which was a bit more challenging because there's a lot more pieces and she became easily overwhelmed. So I kind of had to sit there with her and explain to her how to start a puzzle. You have to find the corners, you have to find the edges, you have to match the colors. And then I went back to reading my book. She wanted me to do the puzzle for her. She wanted the puzzle to be done, but she didn't want to put in the work. No puzzle got done. We're going to see what happens, because that was last week. We haven't been back to that library in a while. Puzzle's still there, though. She still wants to see what it looks like. She said all week to stew on it, so we'll keep you posted on that. But it's a prime example of explain, don't do. It works best early on in years, so right now the best examples are going to be with the youngest child, especially because the results are so acute at this age. Rule number 3, create false adversity. Now this is beautifully evil, and I love it. When your child has taken up a hobby, and they have taken it to the point where you feel like you can test it a little bit, like, is this a hobby that I need to start spending money on, right? Because that's a really important question, isn't it? I like to start putting up little roadblocks in their path. Like my oldest child took up baking for a while, but she stopped when I needed her to start to research other flowers. But so long as that, I let her bake whenever she wanted. Up until when she decided to stop baking so much. She still bakes every now and then, but only really when mom asks. But because I created that expectation, the middle child, when she came of an age where she was no longer afraid of the oven, also decided to start baking, and she has been experimenting with flavors in some very interesting ways, and I'm quite proud of her. But that took an environment where that was capable. And I started putting little roadblocks in her path as well to find out if this was a hobby that I had to start spending money on. And unfortunately, yeah, I got to start spending money on it because she kind of overcame the roadblocks, which means it's something she values. That's what that means. She overcame those roadblocks, so she values it. Or maybe just arbitrarily, I said, I don't want you to do that because that ingredient costs money and I don't feel like spending it right now, so I'm going to need you to figure out how you can do it without that. We have Google. They have no excuse. They have cell phones. Baking is the best example because baking is science. Create a hypothesis. Test a hypothesis. Share your results. Take feedback. Back to the drawing board. It's a beautiful thing. Now, everything I've said so far sounds pretty easy, right? Number 4. Number 4 is the tricky one because we weren't raised this way. None of us were. Not a single bloody one of us was raised this way. And number 4 is congratulate all victories. Now, this is not participation trophy award stuff. This is actual victories, okay? If your kid worked hard for a B and they come home with a B and they say, I got a B, you go, you know what? You did. You worked hard for a B. I'm proud of that B. Good job. Congratulate the victory. It'll make them want to do better. Your kid brings home something from school. It looks like crap. You're like, the hell is this? But he's proud of it because it got a good grade. You don't know what it is, but it's an art class thing, and he got a great grade, and you're like, holy crap, this is good job. I'm proud of you. I don't care what it is. If they're proud of it and it took effort and they succeeded at something, good job. I'm not saying throw them a goddamn party, but you know, good job. Proud of that. Put work into that. There was effort. We weren't raised that way, though, were we? Ooh, that's hard. You got to train yourself, too. Like, you got to train yourself. You got to get your partner on board with that one, too. Because you got to, this is a tricky one, too. Do not ask them to do this in the moment, either. If you decide to get your partner on board with trying to figure out when you should be saying stuff like this, you need to ask them to tell you after the fact. Just trust me. It's easier. But think about it. How often does your kid hear from you, you think they're doing well? How often do you expect them to just know it? I guarantee you that's just going to raise a kid who's constantly hoping you get it. That's not the relationship I want to have with my children when they're grown. And number 5. Anytime I do one of these list videos, number 5 or number 7, number 9, however many I do, number 5, the last one is always going to be the same. Work on yourself and be better. Raise your own expectations constantly. I don't care how even. If you want to work on yourself to create a better version of yourself emotionally, do that. If you want to work on yourself to create a better version of yourself financially, do that. If you want to work on yourself to create a better version of yourself physically, do that. I don't care what you value, so long as you value yourself as a person and you want that thing and you constantly try to go for that thing, you do that. And your children will see you do that. Just be a good person while you do it, right? I'm Ginger Jesus, and I'm out.